A 7-year-old and a 4-year-old are in their bedroom. "You know what, I think it's time we started swearing," said the 7-year-old. "I sure as shit don't want any fucking Frosties." I said I don't want any damn vegetables. As a small kid I got well told off by my mate's mother when I said sod off. Apparently nothing to do with grass as I thought, smiley face. Good old number 4276. Heard this joke 100 times in Russian. Sounds like the start of a tiny tag team wrestling match. I didn't get the punchline. What are these Frosties and where would a Frosty find them? Not asking for a friend. I feel like this perfectly illustrates emphatic and appropriate swearing versus just swearing to be edgy. I've always had kinda spicy language, but it bothers me when people just swear to swear. A Canadian man loses his wife. The Yorkshire version. The husband of a recently departed Yorkshire lady asked for her headstone to be engraved with the words "Lord, she were thine." When the headstone was delivered it read "Lord, she were thin." "You have forgotten the E," said the distraught husband, and the offending stone was removed and returned a few days later, this time reading "E Lord, she were thin." I like it, never heard it before. How do you spell Canada? Canada. Woman asked stonemason to write "born virgin, lived virgin, died virgin" on her gravestone. He said he charge his work per word so it will be cheaper to write "returned unopened." Maybe it'll work even better if it specifies the stonemason and not the man is Canadian. That why at the bakery, they make you write down exactly what you want written on the cake. That was a funny death joke though. Added words. A man with a penis growing on his forehead visits the doctor, worried. That's a dickhead joke. This guy will bring a new level of lick her in the front and poke her in the rear. When the doctors mentioned the beautiful girls, I thought he was going to make a suggestion for using the extra penis. "Did you only mark this long because it's a dick joke?" Funny. He could wear a visor. No one has foreskin him to go. A man with 3/4 of a frog growing on his forehead visits the doctor. The doctor is astonished and asks how did this happen, and the frog replied, "It started with a couple of warts on my arse." Upper decker pecker? I knew a man who had 5 penises. A pirate walks into a bar with a paper towel on his head. The bartender asks, "Hey, what's with the paper towel?" The pirate says, "What a dry sense of humor." A pirate walks into a bar with a steering wheel coming out of his pants. The bartender says, "What's the deal with the steering wheel?" The pirate says, "Drives me nuts." I presume this is from part of the world where a bounty is a paper towel? Here it's a chocolate bar, just the picker-upper I needed. I bet the ladies find him charming. What quick pickup, in fact a quicker picker-upper. A woman in a hot air balloon is lost. The way I heard this is, a man is in a helicopter lost somewhere near Seattle. He flies to an office building, holds up a sign that says, "Where am I?" The person in the building replies with a sign that reads, "In a helicopter." The pilot immediately returns to the airport. The pilot was asked how he knew where he was based on that information. He said he knew he was at the Microsoft headquarters because he was told completely accurate and completely worthless information. Original joke was better with engineer and manager instead of Democrat and Republican emo. Not a dad joke. But it's refreshing to see a joke that has a woman in it and yet not sex related, so that's nice. Man on a river bank shouts to man on the other bank, "How do I get to the other side?" Man responds, "You are on the other side." Please don't take our dad jokes into the political toilet abyss. This isn't even close to being a dad joke. At some point, super obese people lose their ability to wipe. Rapper Big Pun was 698 pounds 317 kilograms at the time of his death. He was too big to wipe his own ass and yet he was abusive to his wife. Hitting someone who wipes your ass for you is insane. If you're middle-aged you don't even need to be super obese, just sleep with your back at a slightly wrong angle. I wash myself with a rag on a stick. I'm filing this under things I had no desire to think about that. Some do, sure. It really depends on their physiology beyond there should all be using bidets. Anyway, well that's something I never thought of and wish I never did. Fearful face. That's why they wash themselves with a rag on a stick. Yep. Google bathroom buddy and you'll have your answer. That's why God invented the rag on a stick. That's what the rag on a stick is for. I am Alan Chan, co-founder of Heptabase, a visual note-taking tool that helps you make sense of complex topics. AMA. How can Heptabase be used to understand complex physics and mathematics concepts, or would you say that pen and paper is still the best way to gain a deep understanding on those? There are any capabilities AI has enabled us to come closer to the contextualized knowledge internet you're visioning. Is Heptabase planning to use AI in the product besides the chat interface? Does Heptabase choose to operate as a remote startup since day one? Thanks for doing this AMA. Big fan of Ted Chiang, and the concept of deep understanding of anything is very promising and I look forward to getting to using Heptabase and see how this product develops in future. My question is, what were the problems you faced in the past with Heptabase and how did you find a solution to if money wasn't a constraint? What features you would like to bring to you? I had a Russian Uber driver the other day. Oh, Dad used to listen to Car Talk. I see. Oh, I thought he was in a hurry because he was Russian. Did you crane your neck to see him? Did he have a seat tester named Mike Easter or fits your name Misha Turnov? Vlad, it worked out. There's a lot of them about. He was Russian to Putin gear though. He must have been Russian to your destination. Can someone help me with the last name? It doesn't click yet. Did he invade your sovereign state to try to overthrow your democratically elected government, and commit heinous war crimes by murdering civilians and abducting children? Fuck Russia. Vad car was he driving? I remember this joke from the closing credits of the PBS radio program Car Talk. I missed that show. In Hong Kong, there once lived a rich prestigious old man named Grandpa Lee. All that set up for a miserable punk like that? Well played up, well played. Such a long ass setup, but worth it Lamau. Too long, not really worth the effort, but still nice. Very good. Like going on a 4-mile hike to see a dog turd. Begrudgingly, that is how you tell a dad joke. Too long, got bored and stopped reading. This belongs in our fake hoot. This needs to be shorter. Clearly, I hate you for wasting 2 minutes of my life. That is absolutely terrible. I am absolutely going to place some rotten fish in your attic. The person who lives next door is quite strong. They are mighty neighborly. No one prepares you for the fact that you have to figure out what to eat for every meal for the rest of your life. This Sisyphean task of laundry and dinner. Not if you just give up on eating. You are a tube of meat whose sole purpose is to find and digest chemicals to continue being a tube of meat. Get a fucking grip. Start fasting and you no longer do. Problem equals solved. That's the easy part. Getting off my ass to buy the stuff and make it is the real trick. That's what your parents are supposed to do. If you join the military or go to prison, you won't have to worry about choosing. Just make a meal plan for an entire week and follow the same plan your whole life. I think no one was aware of the crippling amount of choices we were going to have. Chicken and thinking required. That's why with today's sponsor HelloFresh, you never have to. Till Michelin started reviewing restaurants so people would travel farther and wear out their tires, increasing their sales. Not necessarily farther, but also more often. This was in the very early days where some people were still wondering why bother to get a car at all. Wait, it's that Michelin? I didn't realize the Michelin tires and the Michelin stars were from the same people. And if anybody tells you we dined at a 5-star Michelin restaurant, you can happily look at them and say you're the lying prick, because Michelin only goes up to 3 stars. And there are very few restaurants that have that 3-star rating. Till that in 1900, the population of Las Vegas was 22. Every time I'm in Las Vegas, I'm struck by the feeling of this city really should not exist. The area was named Las Vegas, which is Spanish for the meadows, as it featured abundant wild grasses, as well as the desert spring waters needed by westward travelers. Bust. Over 21. I win. It's the only amount of people that makes sense to live in the goddammit desert. Sounds about S population in 1900 was 1.6 billion. Even with 2 world wars, countless regional wars, the Ottoman genocides in Anatolia, Stalin, Hitler, Pol Pot, Idi Amin, the Khmer Rouge, Bangladesh genocide, Rwanda and Mao. Since then, we've added just upwards of 7 billion to that number. Till during World War I, France lost 25 of its 18-30-year-old male population. Yes, when I teach this I always show students not to look at the casualties as a percentage of the total population of different nations, but as a percentage of their young male population between the ages of 18 and 30. If you look at the figures for ages between 18 and 25, they're even grimmer. That 25 for France also doesn't include the wounded. Based on that, it's little wonder that French military policy became devoted to defense, and they did almost anything to avoid another war. One thing I love about All Quiet on the Western Front is that the movie portrays the French as the boogeyman. They were not some joke, they were at the time the great enemy of the German people and were feared as such. I will never forget watching the St. Clement scene. Absolutely nightmare fuel. Till grade schools in Japan don't have janitors, and the students clean the school. Every school in the world learned of this fact and implemented it at some point, got featured in local papers about it, and then stopped after a month to a year cause the teachers realized how much extra work it is for them. Look, we cleaned the erasers, but I am very glad we didn't have to clean the vomit. Same thing in traditional Japanese martial arts dojo, the students are responsible for the cleaning. It's considered to build character and to be a sign of respect for the school. This is bullshit. You think children are waxing floors, unclogging toilets, cleaning? Most certainly do have janitors. Their roles may be more towards building maintenance, but they certainly have janitorial roles too. Never watched anime? We had to sweep the classroom in 5th to 6th grade, I think. I'm German. till scientists trained a ferret to run through the Fermilab particle accelerator's main ring to keep it clean. I've never seen a ferret and thought yup, this room seems lab clean. The good old Yorkshire solution, when in doubt put a ferret down link. Seems like a very expensive and convoluted way to clean a ferret. Wouldn't the ferret poop cause problems? They don't shed. As usual, the title of this till isn't exactly true as written. In this case, there's more to the ferret didn't clean the tube. The ferret only pulled a string through the tube so the scientists could attach a cleaning swab to the other end and pull it through to clean the article. Once Felicia had pulled the string all the way through the tube, scientists tied a swab with a cleaning solution to it and pulled it along. His name? Limmy Winks. Imagine accelerated ferrets, cutest janitor ever. Till that in the UK, it is extremely rare for a football club to relocate to another city, since the team is inexplicably tied to the city and culture there, rather than just being operated like a business. This is the same for all sports in most of Europe, I would say. Till sport teams in the USA can just move to a different location? Are teams not tied to a city in the US? Yeah, that's nearly all of Europe and most places that aren't. Only exception in the UK is MK Dons, and that went down very badly with the Phoenix club rising back up to the same league super quickly. There was one attempt to do the American way, when Wimbledon moved to Milton Keynes, and it was so badly received no one has tried it again. It's not inexplicable. It makes a significant amount of anything. It's weird that American teams can just move, especially between states, inextricably. I think it's the same for any sport in Europe. MK Dons. Franchise scum. Water is the only substance able to put an end to your life by not drinking it. Long-term alcoholics can go into severe withdrawal that can lead to death if they suddenly stop drinking alcohol. Actually, you could technically live without drinking water, if you had an IV drip set up directly into your veins. I mean, people in ICU don't automatically die because they can't drink it. You have to consume a lot things to live. Same could be said about salt. 4 would like a word. And feeding tubes. And ice. And a lot of fruits and veggies. There are many ways of avoiding dehydration without drinking water. Breast milk formula, at first. That goes for everything that contains water. Tell that to my coffee. Actually, milk and/or substitutes are necessary for the survival of a newborn. It contains antibodies for various diseases, and without them, it's almost guaranteed the baby will be infected and die. What are baby names people think are classy but really aren't? Know a guy who named his kid Bourbon. It's an old French name. Because that's what everyone will think when they hear it. Designer brand names. Always been odd. Anyone named after a designer brand or type of car. I had a pair of twin boys in one of my classes named Master and Sir. Chardonnay. After drugs. A friend of a friend named her baby Sativa. Khaleesi. I met a girl named Lasagna. I asked her to repeat her name about 10 times and this is what she kept saying. Later on, I figured out it was La Sonia. But she totally said it like the food. Reminded of that interview with Katie Hopkins where she says she hates when people name their kids after places, like Brooklyn, and Phil's response is your daughter's called India. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Chef's Phil, not Holly. What do dyslexic zombies eat? I'm dyslexic so I read it as brains. Before I realized Limau. Seems there may be a gap in the market for a dating site introducing necrophiliacs named Brian to dyslexic zombies who are quite literally so hungry they would happily eat, without trying before Brian. Drains or grains. Try before you but Brie. You're kidneying me. Snarib? Snearb. They eat snearb. All you zombies hide your faces. Gremlins messing things up. Bairns. Gust. Good. All the Brians I've known are dicks. Brian's have been 50-50. Stifler's mom. Ha 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 ha. I used to do this as a joke back at the pizza shop. Supply. What is the scariest thing your spouse ever said to you? I'm tired, and want to go home. He died 6 hours later, after fighting cancer for 6 weeks. Who's that standing in the corner? She said at 2 a.m. while sitting up in bed and pointing towards the corner. I was still half asleep but freaking out, and then she just laid back down and continued sleeping like nothing happened. No one was in the corner. Upside down face. My wife woke me up in the middle of the night and said I'm bleeding. She was pregnant and was having a miscarriage. My wife suffers from bipolar disorder. Before her first long hospitalization when it was diagnosed, and while she was going through her first severe manic episode with psychosis, she later told me that the voices in her head told her that I was Satan and she needed to kill me. And she told them no, that she knew better. So there's that. What is your reaction when a man stares at your tits? I usually just stare back at him. It's not like he's noticing though. Depends. If they're a stranger and look away or seem embarrassed when I notice them looking, then I think it's flattering. My chest has distracted me at times, so I get it. Blatant unapologetic staring after getting caught makes me nervous, though. At my age I'd wonder if they have a granny fetish. Stare at his tits to assert dominance? I think. Stare? You don't stare, you get a peek. It's like looking at sun, you get a sense of it then you look away. What's something guys think makes them attractive, but is actually a major turnoff? Putting guy friends down to make themselves look better, more appealing. If you're with a bunch of other guys and a girl you like, I promise that trying to make yourself seem better than all of them is super transparent and annoying. My wife wasn't as impressed with my utility belt as all my friends were. Type of dude who's always talking shit unprovoked cause he thinks it gives him a competitive edge in a group. No one likes me talking about my light-up kicks anymore. Talking about how many other women are into you. It's the most transparent attempt at making her feel insecure or jealous that it'd almost be funny if it wasn't so sad. Refer to themselves as an alpha, belittling others who aren't as good, rich, aesthetically good looking as them. Arrogance. When they fake their walk. Can see how hard they are trying to look cool or tough. It's cringe. What's the worst thing you've ever done when horny? October 30th, 1991. I walked 8 miles through hurricane force winds on Nantucket Island to spend the night with my girlfriend. Masturbated to the Archer Queen in Clash of Clans. One time I made love to a stack of bathroom towels. The standard. Fucked myself with a vegetable. Masturbated at work. Sexted some guy from back in the day, etc. Had sex because I was going to get a vasectomy soon and knew my companion Pickle would be out of action for a while. Wore a condom. It split. Now I have a 6-year-old. Stupidest best decision I ever made. Pretty much everything I have done while it's just a generally undignified state to be in. Jerked off in the private work bathroom, forgot to lock the door and the new guy walked in on me and he quit a week after. Joined a sperm donation app, and met with a girl from there on a whim. Younger men hate younger women for going for older men. Older women hate older men for going for younger women. So, obviously older women need to go for younger men. And everybody was kung fu fighting. I don't hate anybody. Frowning face. Hate is too strong a word. If you are close to those who love you, optimal strategies for life are not a surprise you find out later. I'm in the middle dating everyone. I think the unifying principle here is just that many people get mad when they can't get something they want. I really don't think this is true, although I don't pretend to speak for all women. However, I dated a pretty older guy when I was 19, and he was a complete douchebag who just thought he could mold me into being I'd bang mate and who didn't give a crap about my feelings. Also, I've seen the kind of men who date younger women and I'm not impressed. But even if my amazing husband leaves me, I think I'll be okay.